Hey guys, I'm Austin with BreakTurn, and we are going to do another gear review. Today we are reviewing the David Clark Jet X headset. It is their newer kind of minimalist headset specifically designed for commercial airline pilots. So jumping right into it, the first thing that we see is this bag. And one of the things that I appreciate about it is that if you're going to make a minimalist and kind of smaller headset, a lot of times those still come in kind of bigger bags, and I put a premium on how much space it's going to take up inside my flight kit. And they made a really thin, very small bag. So if you're going to carry your headset in the bag itself is going to be very small and have a tiny footprint compared to some other ones. It's a pretty thick bag in terms of it seems really durable. I appreciate that they've got some side pockets on here. You can keep your manuals in there, you can keep extra batteries in there, kind of whatever you need. And they included a lot of cool stuff inside of it as well. And so you've got some separators and ability to organize a little bit better than you would if there's nothing else here. So jumping into it, before I get to the headset, here's all the stuff that comes with it in terms of manuals and all that, which everybody knows you're mostly just going to chuck those to the side anyways. But a couple cool things they included: a little tie for cable management, and they include the batteries. I always hate it when I get a product and you spend hundreds of dollars on something and then they don't bother to put the batteries in it. It's such an insignificant cost. It drives me a little bit crazy when companies do that. But they included the batteries in it, and actually they included an extra battery as well. So you've got enough for the system, which only runs on one AA battery, but you've got an extra one as well. But they also included this little warning. It's stapled right around I actually had to take it off of the headset already. But it's stapled right around the headset, and what it tells you is, it says, "Attention, please read before you use. This headset is not recommended for use in fixed-wing piston aircraft." So essentially they are out of the gate telling you that this headset's not going to be for everyone. And actually, when I was talking to the David Clark booth at one of the recent conferences, just talking about some of the features and who this was for, they actually went down and asked me what kind of aircraft I fly, and even more specifically, and really tried to narrow it down. David Clark has a lot of different headsets on the market, maybe more than anybody else, and so it really enables you to tailor the headset to your individual situation. And I really appreciate that about them. But they're very upfront in terms of, this is not going to be a headset for everybody. But if you're flying commercial aviation, if you're flying in a big transport category jet where the cockpit's designed to be a little bit quieter because you're going to be in it for hours and hours and hours, or even some of those corporate style jets that have quieter cockpits, this is perfect for you. If you're flying in a piston engine airplane, you probably want something that has kind of a bigger ear seal, is what they call them, but bigger ear seal, bigger ear muff, if you will. And I appreciate that they're very honest about that up front. You kind of can't miss it. And so if you end up with this headset on and you're inside one of those airplanes, it's kind of on you. They've told you everything you need to know. Rest of the documentation, you don't really need it. It's very straightforward in using it, but there some other information in there. Getting into the headset, so the headset itself is very small. So the profile is probably about half of that in terms of the width, from what you'd see from a normal headset. The ear seals themselves are actually a little bit smaller than your ear. So when you put it on, it's really kind of unencumbering. It doesn't take up a lot of room. The microphone easily goes from side to side, so whether you're sitting on the left seat or the right seat, it'll work for you. The plugs, it comes with the kind of GA style dual plug out of the box, and I used it sometimes with the dual plugs and sometimes with the Airbus. I've got a cheapo eBay knockoff dual GA plug to Airbus adapter. Not every headset will work with those. So some companies, their headsets won't work with the cheap adapters. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's just the case. This one worked with every single airplane with the cheap adapter, worked just fine. Without it, obviously worked as well. Getting into it, it does have a box. The box is for the active noise reduction, more so than anything else, but it's got a few different things. So it's got USB-C, so if you're going to charge batteries that way, you can do it via USB-C. And then also the active noise reduction, it's very simple, off and on with the button. And so green is on. The active noise reduction in it is really good. So I don't typically fly with active noise reduction, but I have two headsets that do have active noise reduction that I've flown with in the past, and it was completely on par with those that are more expensive headsets. And so I didn't feel like I lost anything there. Even though you're not getting some of the passive noise reduction from kind of a bigger headset, with the active noise reduction, I felt like I could hear everything great, better than the headset that I use right now, which doesn't have active noise reduction, but it is in-ear. And so I felt like this was better than that in terms of what I could hear clearly, and the active noise reduction worked perfectly good. I also appreciate that the boom is relatively long, and the whole length of the boom is adjustable. So when you're moving, if you like a lot of flexibility in your boom mic, you'll really be able to tailor it to yourself. And it's also, some of them move around kind of easily. This one's pretty stiff. So it's thin, but it's actually pretty hard to move positions, which is good because you don't want it to kind of constantly be, every time you bump into something, for it to be moving. But it doesn't do that. So overall, I really enjoyed this headset. I wore it for about a month, flew probably 80 hours in it or so. Really enjoyed it. I've actually got friends that I've flown with in GA, flying general aviation, that wore this in a piston aircraft. So it's not that it can't be done, they just don't recommend it for that. And they had no complaints. The active noise reduction seemed to work good for them. But just be aware, David Clark wouldn't recommend it. But it really can work in a lot of different airplanes. And just between that and the size and everything, I thought it worked excellent for its role. A couple small things that I might like to see. I would love to see a hinge right here, so that it can fold up even smaller. So if you have a hinge here and a hinge here, it could potentially fold even smaller and make a really tiny footprint. As it is, it's great. But that would just be one small caveat, or one small critique. But overall, really enjoyed it. So special thanks to the team at David Clark, especially Ken, who was able to send this out to us. And if you're interested in this headset, you can go to app.breakturn.com, go to the Breakturn Academy, get a pre-profile. It's always free for users, and you can get on there, go to the gear and savings page, and from there go to the headsets page, and you'll be able to find the David Clark page, which will give you the information for how you can get the discount on not only this headset, but all David Clark headsets. Thanks for watching. This has been another gear savings review by Breakturn.